Hey guys, Scott from the Duck Camp. Hey, as we get started into our season, we're going to start doing recaps for everybody out there instead of like more of a podcast about how the weekend went or how our hunts have gone. So this will be kind of our first installation of that. So this weekend here in Washington was early goose season, and we started preparing for early goose months and months and months ago, guys. Um, and preparation is everything. Scouting, all of those things that we've talked about on our podcast in the past. So we're going to just kind of talk a little bit about what happened. So directly across the lot from our lodge here in Stanwood is a field that kind of had some issues with fertilization wise and had been able to grow crops. So we had a bunch of cow bedding from the dairy put out on the field, and we planted barley after that got done, but we didn't have any rain, so our barley didn't pop. So we waited till we got a big rain, and Kenny, the cameraman here, I asked him to go over and overseed that thing and try to get some stuff growing, and we did it in a way that when early goose season came around, that barley be a couple inches tall. And then the Saturday before, we wouldn't put some trolling decoys out in that field, and we didn't get birds into it until 2 days before the season. And then that was what we hunted on Saturday. And so, when we were running ads early on in the season or the year about our early goose, we get people commenting on things like, how are you're going to have birds this time in September? And I mean, it's June. How do you know you're going to have geese in September? Well, we are blessed to be able to manage our properties in a way uh, that our crops are coming up at the right times for the seasons that we have going on. So, again, back to what I was talking about, a month ago, we planted a field with barley, knowing that we'd have a couple pieces of rain and the grass would be up a couple of the barley itself would be up just a couple inches tall, which these honkers really like eating that real tender sprouts that come up with the barley. So we plan for things weeks, months in advance and plan it in a way that the food is ready for our birds when our seasons come around. And we are blessed to be able to do that. And then on top of that, all the other fields that we manage and lease, a little over 6,000, we knew what barley we had where, and it was just a matter of it coming off before the season started. And so we learned all this stuff from scouting, and the geese like to be in fields, barley fields that have been mowed and tilled under, so it doesn't hurt their feet and their wings to land in those fields. And we knew that was going to happen for us. So, and we were hoping to be able to run 2 or 3 trips on Saturday, but we only had 2 fields with geese in it. So, as a guide service, we want to make sure our clients have a really good time. And when guys are flying in from out of town, it's harder to move things around. But for early goose, once we figured out what we really had, we moved things around to make sure that all the clients that are booked for early geese have the absolute best opportunity to have a good hunt. So we moved 2 groups off of this past weekend to this coming weekend, and now we're able to rest the fields that we hunted this last 2 weekends. And for you guys that don't know this, we're not going to be editing these things anymore. That guy that just walked in the camera is my son. Uh, but anyway, so it's all about preparation, planning, and um, sorry, I'm watching my son aggravate Kenny off camera. Who was so tired after 2 days of goose hunting, came over here with his sweatshirt wrong side out. But anyway, so it's all about preparation. We've been working on this early goose thing since all the way back in May, making sure our fields are planted in a way that there's food for the birds come September. We've moved some clients around so that we can hunt a field, rest a field, go back, put out trollers, make sure the birds build again. We've got trollers out in 2 fields that we haven't hunted yet for this coming weekend. So it's all about preparation, and we had a really good time. There was a couple of things we could have done different. Our hunt yesterday, the birds kind of wanted to be right up against a main road, Couldn't obviously hunt it, so we had to back off a little bit and try to cut them off before they got to where they wanted to be. So it was a little challenging. And then also yesterday we had all the birds come at one time. It was a lot of fun. It was, as fast as we could load and lay back down. I think when we finally had a chance to pick up birds, we had 25, 30 birds laying in our decoys, just because we didn't have time between flights. So back to the preparation and scouting, we had one field that had 300 or 400 honkers in it that we decided not to hunt because I got a phone call from an adjoining property with some young men saying they wanted to hunt it and where was I going to set up and so on and so forth. And after watching those birds, I realized that those birds had to fly over me to get to those guys, and we were going to be set up too close to one another. And all it was going to do is make both of us frustrated when they're calling it my birds or I'm calling it theirs. So we decided not to hunt that so that those kids could have the best opportunity that they could to shoot the bird and to keep us from getting frustrated being that close to one another. So all of these things go into the scouting. How soon are the birds? How far are the birds apart? On a good goose hunt, you want them to be at least 5 minutes apart so you can shoot, be able to get up, grab your birds, get back in the blind. So yesterday, for example, give you guys an idea, all the birds were coming at once. It was a lot of fun. We shot 30 birds in 30 minutes, but then they all went back to the roost, and as they trickled out, they were wise. They kind of circle us and, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So with early birds, we're not so stringent on the rule of not shooting at big flocks. But it is proof yesterday that we shot at big flocks and we educated them, and we struggled the rest of the day because we shot at these big flocks. And I don't know, we may have blew that field out. Hopefully not. But it is a lot of preparation, a lot of management, and a lot of things we do to manage our birds that makes us successful every time we hunt. Being honest with our clients and telling them, I talked to a client this morning, supposed to hunt tomorrow. Hey, I got 30, 40 birds in the field. There's only two of you. I think we can shoot 10 birds, but it's going to be a little more difficult. I think it'd be better if we put it off for a couple of days and let the birds get back in there and get comfortable. We're not about just taking people's money and going out and knowing we're going to stare at the wide blue sky. And we don't want to be that guide service that says, oh, yeah, you should have been here yesterday. I've been on those trips where I get, yeah, you should have been there yesterday when we don't catch or kill something. And most of that's weather dependent, though. So, moral of the story, had a great weekend, shot 65 birds. All of our clients got their limits. If we wouldn't have done that and managed to move some people around to different days and making sure that we got birds where these clients could really get a good hunt in, we probably wouldn't be able to hunt next weekend. So when you're out scouting or when you're trying to get prepared for hunting, if you are blessed enough to have private ground, don't just go plant it in May at your earliest convenience. Try to think about your different seasons and when you want the food to be ripe, when you want it to produce. We wanted some food in September, opening weekend of our season, October 11th. I know that they're cutting our corn across the street, so it should be good snow hunting because every year they cut the corn before opening day. We have a really good opening day snow goose hunting. And even on our ducks, we plant food, different fields at different times, a few weeks apart, month apart, so that we constantly have food for our birds. And I know not everybody can do that, but if you can, think about it, plan it out, think about when the seasons are coming, what the growth cycles are, how long it takes for your crops to mature, and then don't be afraid to let the fields rest and come back and hunt them in a few weeks instead of trying to hunt them every day and blowing them out and educating the birds. So I hope you guys kind of learned a little bit from us on this deal. We'll be doing this every week. Again, we're not going to edit it. We're just going to talk about what we did wrong, what we could have done better, so that you guys can learn as we learn because we don't have it all figured out either. See you guys next time.